Alright, so today I'm going to be reviewing and ranking every single Oculus Quest game I have, not including demos or apps. First up we have Gorilla Tag, which is really fun, probably because it appeals to so many different people. If you want to play it competitively, you can. If you just want to chat with other people, you can. If you want to show off your fashion sense, you can. If you want to do some ghost hunting, you can. And that makes it just really cool and appeals to a lot of people, so it has a great community, and if you're into a lot of things, Gorilla Tag will probably tick a lot of those boxes. Next up we have Blade and Sorcery, which I don't really play that much because the games I'm into are either online or ones that kind of like track your progression that you can slowly upgrade, but Blade and Sorcery is just a sandbox right now. They're working on a story mode, but right now all you can do is just fight enemies, which I'm not really into, just doing a gameplay loop over and over. However, when my friends come around, they love playing Blade and Sorcery, but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Next up we have Big Screen, which is basically a virtual cinema, so you can create your own theatres and watch stuff there. You can join other people's theatres and watch what they've set up, or an official one set up by the developers or whatever, but it's just really, it just gives that vibe. You can watch it in a big theatre, or you can watch it in a space station, or some kind of balcony, apartment, whatever. It just feels so cozy and nice. You can get popcorn and stuff. Ugh. Now here we have virtual reality, which is one of those short and sweet kind of games, but it's not really short. But in this game, it's kind of it's hard to explain the game because it's split up into three parts. The first part, you're just kind of playing mini games of sorts and doing jobs and stuff. The second part, you're kind of exploring the deeper side of the game, and the third part is just kind of a cinematic experience where you're learning about the story and whatever. But you know, it just you feel really deep by the end. You know, when you finish playing a game and you feel really deep, broken or empty or whatever, that's just kind of what the game gave off. It does have a lot of potential, but I kind of like, it's a story mode game, so it's not going to get updates or whatever. I mean, it can get updates, but it shouldn't get updates because I like it how it is. That's all I'm saying. Next up, we have The Under, which is basically made by the same people as virtual reality, and similar to virtual reality, it's hard to explain what the game is because a half of the game is an online bar or pub of sorts where you're just vibing with other people, and there's live shows similar to Big Screen, but you get the idea. But then the other half is like a story mode experience where you're on this boat and trying to save everyone on it, and yeah, I haven't experienced much of the game, but it seems pretty cool. Next up we have Rec Room, which you've probably heard about a lot, not only because it's a non-VR game, but a bunch of other people have already covered it, and it's literally just VR Roblox. It's pretty easy to make worlds and in it, and you have your own dorm which you can invite people around, but there's something very off about it. I've got into it multiple times, but every time I get into it I have a different review of it, so I can't really define what my actual opinion on is it, so just play it. It's a non-VR version. If you don't have a VR, just play it. Next we have Pokestars, which you're gonna want to take seriously because it's like actual poker, of course, but it's a full-time effort. If you want to get good in the game, you need to get good and like dedicate yourself to the game. It can't just be another game you play on your Oculus catalog, because if it is, then you're easily gonna lose all your points or chips or whatever. So yeah, since I'm a guy who's hopping around on a lot of games, I can't really dedicate myself to it, so I often run out of chips when betting or whatever. But it's pretty solid to play and get into, but yeah, you can return into it every once in a while when you're feeling like it, but not something I would play regularly. I mean, I would play it regularly, but Next up we have Accounting Plus. Now, I got this game recently and I love it. It's very short, like virtual reality, but it's made by the people who made Rick and Morty, which makes it really funny, and it's also made by the people who made Stanley Parable, which makes it funny again, but also gives it more deepness, like virtual reality, because you're wearing VR headsets in VR headsets, like virtual reality. This game has a lot of ties to virtual reality. Anyways, I don't want to talk any more about it without spoiling it, so just get the game if you have VR. Now we have Beat Saber. I'm gonna say it, this game is very overrated. Don't get me wrong, it's a great game, but it's not exactly the best VR game ever. Because, well, for starters, there isn't really much to do. You just kind of play a track, you can practice it. I mean, the game is infinitely times better with mods, let me just say that, but the game has a lot of tracks to play, and it's got, you can master it if you dedicate yourself to it, but for a casual person, it's a little bit boring, and they've added more stuff from the release of the game, but when the game released, there were barely any songs, and since the story mode was made around then, you're constantly repeating songs in the story mode, which gets really annoying, but yeah. And next we have The Climb 2, which is kind of fun to just play. You can easily just play it when you're feeling adventurous. The graphics are cool, but really could push the game to its maximal potential. It's kind of like regular updates, so like adding maps every year or a tournament or something, and I'm aware it got like an autumn update or something, but I feel like it'd be much better if it had regular small updates and the occasional massive update like a new map or something. But yeah. Oh, now we got a scary one. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. Now I'm a massive fan of the FNaF series before this, but I've got the non-VR version. I have all the previous games. I've played and 100%ed all of them, but nothing beats FNaF VR. It's so different to any of the other games. Everything is so claustrophobic. Glitch trap is really scary, and but to someone who hasn't played the series before, it is scary. Like, a lot of the time FNaF isn't that scary anymore because it's been oversaturated at this point with all the memes and stuff, but that FNaF VR Help Wanted truly brings it home. Now we have Super Hot. Now this is one of the first VR games that I ever got, and it's really satisfying. It's really, I don't have much to say. Super Hot is basically what Blade and Sorcery could be in the future, and what I hope it can be. But the thing is, similar to a lot of VR games, it's really short. Because of the way I play games, I end up beating them and grinding them out and thinking, that game is really short, even though I literally just played through the whole thing in one sitting because I loved the game so much. But yeah, don't be like me. If you feel like if you feel like a level is really hard and you're not being able to go through it, give it a couple more tries and then leave it. Don't grind now and feel like, I need to do this. I mean, that's good, but you'll beat the game fairly quickly with that mindset. Next we have Stride. Now a lot of VR games should do this, but one thing Stride has that not many other VR games besides Gorilla Tag and a couple other games is you have to move in real life to play the game, like swing your arms up and down, and that just gives that realism that I want so many other VR games to play. You don't move a log stick, you actually have to move around. Now, similar to Blade and Sorcery, it should get a better online mode and a story mode, but those two things could compel it to be a really great game, but I hope it develops in the future because it's sick. Now we have Grab, which, if you don't know, it's kind of like Rec Room mixed with Gorilla Tag. You just place blocks, make a parkour course, play it, and then maybe play other people's parkour courses. Now there's a lot lacking from the game, like better animation systems, so like blocks can move around in the parkour courses, or like ways you can die more like an enemy or whatever, but this game has massive potential. I'm going to be saying this a lot, but yeah, there's a lot of good things that the game can do to propel itself to a #1 spot on a VR game list. Now we have Trover Saves the Universe, made by the people who created Rick and Morty, so yeah, the people who made Accounting Plus. This game just feels like you're playing an episode of Rick and Morty. If you played Accounting Plus, you're going to want to play Trover Saves the Universe, because everything is just so funny, and if I told you anything about it, I'd be spoiling it, so just play the game. Of course, similar to Super Hot, I plowed through the game, so I thought it was really short when I beat it, even though it wasn't that short for a VR game at least, but play. There are a lot of underrated games on VR, but one of the most underrated ones is Prison Boss. You're stuck in your cell, and you have to craft items and try and escape. This game is just so mwah. You can just feel everything in the... I'm not sure why, but it just sets the right mood. It's got the great music in the background. You got different the unique prisons. That's the word. Unique prisons that you can go through, and yeah, it's really satisfying to get that cool item or level up and escape. But satisfaction is the word that describes this game. Echo VR. Now this game got a little boring for me when I first got it, because it's one of the first VR games I got. First of all, it felt really repetitive, playing the same thing over and over again. Now I understand Oculus has limitations, but the game doesn't have a massive storage size, so I wish they did a massive update, and even if it would push the storage size a lot, it deserves it. The game is really good and has potential. And second of all, the game is kind of a bit toxic, because it has a ranking system. Every match you win, you go up a rank, but every match you lose, you don't exactly go down a rank, so you kind of get stuck with toxic players a bit, like bot champion toxic players, and I could clearly notice my experience slowly deteriorating as I lost more and more matches, but yeah, I like to just play against AIs or with friends now. Next up we have Neverboard. This game just sucks. You do board games in it, and you have to pay for most of the board games. That's it. I don't want to give this game any detail at all, because it sucks. I don't want to give it any credit or anything. It's bad. Oh, this is a classic half-half. You play as these Teletubby looking fellas and do mini games. This is good fun. It's like Neverboard, except you don't have to pay for most of them, and instead of doing board games, you're actually running around doing stuff. It's so fun, so creative, you can get bored quickly, but you just invite one friend and the game feels so refreshed and stuff. And yeah, if any of you have a friend who's just got VR, definitely play this game with them. It's a great starter game and much better than any of the Oculus tutorial games. Next up we have VRChat. This game brings back so many memories. It's the first game I properly got obsessed with. I've heard a lot of people say it's toxic. I don't really find it that toxic. My experience was overall pretty pleasant, but yeah, it's the definition. Like, I hear Mark Zuckerberg talking about how he's going to create the metaverse, but in my opinion, VRChat has already created the metaverse. Like, a lot of games say, do go anywhere, be anything, but they don't really do that. This VRChat is the one game that I've seen do that. Like, a lot of other games where you can create and do other people's stuff, like Rec Room or Roblox or whatever, there's a lot of restrictions, like a restriction to the avatar, restriction to a certain art style, but this game just has a mix of literally everything, and it's just a madness, and it's so fun. But yeah, also similar to Gorilla Tag, there's a lot of ways to play the game, but yeah. Now we have Battle Talon, which is basically the exact same as Blade and Sorcery, except this time you're fighting monsters like skeletons and goblins, which is a lot more funner. There's more wacky weapons, and there's a story mode. Why is this game free? Population 1 is fun to just hop in and play. It's satisfying to get weapons, but similar to other Battle Royale games like, I don't know, Fortnite or Apex Legends, you can get angry if you're like on a losing streak. Can get pretty annoying, and the gameplay loop can sometimes get repetitive. It does get regular updates, but the updates are just maybe like a new skin, and since it's a VR game, it doesn't have many players, thus most of the extra game modes don't really have many people doing it. But you know, a healthy community, it can fill the matches up pretty easy, and yeah. Star Wars, Tale from the Galaxy Edge. Now, this is the first game. Like earlier I said I plow through games and grind games out a lot. This is the first game where I really did that, and as a lot of other reviewers said, this doesn't really give off the Star Wars vibe, which I love about the Star Wars series, because every Star Wars film, especially the prequels, give off this certain vibe that I really like, and Tales of the Galaxy's Edge doesn't really do that. It doesn't feel like a Star Wars game, it just feels like generic game, generic Star Wars game, yeah. Gone! This is the first paid game that I got on my Oculus, and sure is it fun. Now, it's fun to just do arena or the story mode, but after you beat the story mode and all the bosses and stuff, it gets a bit boring just doing the sandbox. But yeah, similar to Blade and Sorcery, my friends love playing it when they come around, just for the sole purpose of it's more of an experience than an actual progressive game. But I finish off a lot of these by saying but yeah, so I'm not gonna do that. But yeah. Now we have Pavlov Shaq. Now, if you like realistic gun simulators, this is gonna be your wet dream, because it's so realistic. That's literally all I have to say about the game. The game is a little bit janky since it's still kind of like a beta. It's still an App Labs, which is basically where all the VR beta games are. But it can be improved a lot with physics systems, but I can see how a lot of people love the game, especially if you're into your COD or whatever. Now, I have a lot of other games that I'm not going to talk about, mostly because they're A, I haven't played them at all, or B, because they're crappy, and most of the time, it's both. And yeah, that's it. I don't know why I made this video, I just felt like it.